When it comes to cooking, many people want to be simple. They don't want to make an extravagant meal. But I have to say, you really should try to stretch out there and try to do something harder. And I can tell you that many gourmet recipes are not difficult. You can do them at home with the things that you have around your house and from your local grocer. So, for today, I'm tackling Gordon Ramsay's Rabbit Fricassee with tagliatelle. Let's just hope by the end of this, I'm not an idiot sandwich. Here we go. So for today, I'm making rabbit fricassee with tagliatelle. Yes, rabbit. Oh, the cute little bunny rabbit. And yes, it is a French recipe, so rabbit fricassee with tagliatelle. That's my best French accent that I can possibly give you right now. I'm sorry. I'll try to do better next time. But anyways, I got this recipe from Gordon Ramsay's channel, the F Word, when he was doing those videos back in the day. And so I'm gonna make sure that this recipe really hits hard, that it makes sense, and that it's as close as possible to Gordon's recipe. You're here today. You have nothing to worry about. I'm right here with you. If you're watching this video, just trust me. Like, I'm just sending you my soul right now, and I'm holding your hand. I'm holding your hand. So, let's go ahead and make this rabbit fricassee with tagliatelle. That's what we're doing. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're working on the broth here. What I'm doing is I'm just going through 2 large carrots, and I just want to give them a rough chop and place them in a nice pot. Then I'm going to take a large white onion here. And for the onion, I just want to slice it into halves. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't need to be anything pretty. We're working on a broth. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on our rabbit. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the legs here, give them a rough chop, take them off. And you can take off the arms too and blanch them as well in this broth. That's perfectly fine. And after this, I'm going to add some parsley as well before filling it up with some water. All right, so I want to go ahead and fill up this pot of water to basically cover everything that we're making the broth out of. Now, this is going to go on very high heat. I want to bring it to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer. And while that's going on, I'm going to go ahead and skim off any scum that comes along the way during the broth process. This will take about, it can take about an hour. It's a really fast one. If you really want to push the stock, you can put it to 3 hours, 4 hours. But remember, we're just lightly blanching the rabbit here. To be efficient here, I want to go ahead and start working on butchering up the rabbit. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the loins just straight from the back with a nice sharp knife. And then eventually I'm going to end up rolling these up and then taking any excess meat that I can find from the rabbit and just slicing that up because I want to utilize everything I can. I had a very small rabbit, as you can tell. I didn't get a lot from that loin, but I'm going to go ahead and take that and I'm going to roll them up. Now, these loins, once rolled, they're going to be sliced down into, you could do 3-4 pieces. It just depends on how many you get or how much you have from each loin. And then these are all the excess pieces here. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut these down and I'm going to throw them in the skillet later on when I start frying them in the pan. Now I have 1 shallot here. I'm going to give this a nice fine dice, and then I'm going to start working on my mushrooms. These are both going to go into my pan before I start searing up the rabbit.
Here I have baby Bella mushrooms. That's what I chose to use. And I'm just giving them a nice slice. Like, you can go quarters, you can make them chunky, whatever you want. But I'm just going to go ahead and just slice through them. And I'm using about 4 to 6 total. Now I'm going to prep some parsley on the side. This is going to go into the sauce much later on when we're actually making the whole sauce out of the stock and some heavy whipping cream. But I just want to go ahead and just give this a rough chop. Now into a pan with olive oil to, I would say, about medium to high heat. I'm going to start with our mushrooms because they take longer to cook down. Then I'm going to add in the shallots, give that a quick mix and let those sear up a little bit. I want them to get pretty good here. I don't want to like burn them. I just want to sweat them really good here. And then I'm going to separate them into a bowl and start cooking, well, searing the rabbit. Before I start searing the rabbit, I'm going to prep my bacon. So I have about, I would say, 1/3 of a pound of bacon here. I wanted a lot of nice thick cut bacon in this, and I'm just slicing through this bacon. Into the hot pan, the bacon goes. So we're going to go ahead and put that bacon into that hot pan, sear it up. I have this at about medium to high heat. Give it a nice sear and then take it out and then start adding in our rolls of that loin. I want to start with this first and then I'm going to add in the little other pieces as we go. Note, the pieces that are blanching right now will be added to be seared as well. And all of this beautiful fond at the bottom will be taken up by some white wine. And of course we want a good sear on all sides, but I'm also going to start adding in those pieces of the legs that have been blanching in that nice stock that we've been making. And honestly, the stock is so delicious. We're going to add it to our sauce later on. Just a quick note here. So you do want to add in some fresh thyme leaves, not the stems, but some fresh thyme leaves to this rabbit as it is searing up in here. I will have that in the recipe below. And then I wanted to take out the legs and just shred them up. Typically, you eat this with the legs whole, but I didn't want to work around the bones. So you can do it as you want, but here we are. I've got the pan on about medium to high heat here, and I'm adding back in those pieces, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in some white wine so I can start deglazing the pan. And you just want to get all those nice bits of fond at the bottom off. I am using a wooden spoon to do this. You can use whatever utensil you want that your pan will allow you to use, but we want to go ahead and get all that beautiful fond from the bottom because that is a lot of flavor. Now, the wine is pretty much evaporated right now, so I'm going to add in just a little bit more white wine. I'm going to bring this back to a medium to high heat, and I'm going to add in our parsley, our shallots, our mushrooms, and the bacon. After giving this a good mix, I'm going to go ahead and start incorporating our heavy whipping cream, which is going to be about, I would say, 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream. And then just stir that all in, let that get in there. And we're going to start adding in some of the broth. We want to start adding in some of the broth from the rabbit broth that we were making earlier. So you can see me adding it in here. I'm just adding in spoonfuls and I'm tasting it as I go, and you can always add salt and pepper to taste. Now I have my tagliatelle noodles boiling on the side in a separate pot. While those are getting done, I'm going to go ahead and finish off the sauce with some whole grain mustard here, about a tablespoon of whole grain mustard, and give it a good mix. And we're done.
All right, and we're done. Here's our pasta. This is an awesome pasta, very easy to make. If you don't want to use rabbit, just go use chicken, it's fine. But definitely the rabbit is worth it. It tastes really good. So to give it a bite, I'm gonna go ahead and go in here. All this goodness. Awesome. So good. The bacon, the rabbit, the mushrooms. This is such a worthwhile pasta to make, and it's very easy. So I have to say, thank you so much for watching through the end of the video. I greatly appreciate it. If you're not a current subscriber and you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe. And for all of you who are current subscribers, thank you so much for the support. And I'm out. We're done here. Cheers.